love the channel and find it useful in becoming a happy retiree. Subscribe today. Let's go to Stephen, who joins us from Atlanta. Stephen, good morning. Welcome to Money Matters. How can we help? What's going on?
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Good.
Good. All right. Long story short, we've got some money in a trust account at Merrill Lynch, and my dad and I are faced with a unique opportunity to purchase the townhome right next door to ours. And we're working on remodeling mine right now, and this would be just a unique opportunity, I think, to collectively increase the value of two of these things, and we can purchase it cash, and we can purchase it from the seller directly without roughly saving about $18,000 in realtor fees. The problem is well, it's not really a problem. We just don't know. You know, we're faced with the question of, do we leave all the money in the market, or should we take some of this out and, you know, buy this place cash? You know, right? I just think it's kind of silly. My dad's paying rent for an apartment when we've got cash sitting there, and, you know, we're just a little torn on what to do with it. And the advisors at Merrill Lynch, you know, they just don't seem too interested in listening to what we want to do. You know, I know they want to make their money, but I trust them because they're the financial people also. So I'm just in a little bit of a torn decision here.
Interesting. I guess a question I have for you, a couple quick things. Number one, so how old is your dad? Is he in retirement yet?
Yes, he's retired. He's already started collecting his Social Security. He's got enough to live on with just that. But he's going into a slight deficit paying rent and the bills at his apartment and truck payment. So
interesting.
You know,
and is he how old is Dad? How old is your father?
About 62, I think 62, 63.
So he just started taking Social Security. And
That's right.
Stephen, is he working right now, or is he's completely retired?
Yeah, he's completely retired, but he's a career carpenter. So, you know, we're looking to try to do some fix and flips. And that's what, you know, that's been our goal. We've been talking about it for 10 years. You know, he's finally moved here, and, you know, we're at least looking for some side jobs around. You know, he doesn't want to go back to work full time. You know, we want to use his skills to the best of our ability to, you know, just make some money here and there. You know,
so he can effectively work. He doesn't have to get a paycheck necessarily, but really just work as an investor, really. Let's get this house. He has the ability to fix it up. And now, but this particular situation, you guys are thinking about. So this is a townhouse right next to yours, or?
Yeah, we share the same wall, and the neighbor just had a baby. They want a bigger place, and, you know, we've been talking about it. I told them my dad was coming to town, and they've offered to sell it to us as is for about $20,000. Then they're looking to list it with a realtor because they would have to do some improvements on it themselves to really get it at the right listing price.
And how much is he paying in rent? So let's just do let's take a look at what the mortgage might be. How much would first of all, how much is the townhouse approximately?
About $275, $280.
$275, $280. So I'm going to list a couple goals here. One of the goals obviously is real estate, and right now he's paying rent. Instead, we may buy the place. That's number one. Number two, this is also important. You had mentioned that there's a little bit of a deficit for his monthly income. So let's assume his Social Security is $1,800 a month, which is probably, when you take Social as early as 62, it's usually around $1,500 a month to $1,800. Do you recall how much it is?
Yeah, it's like it's like $1,750 or right around $1,800, something like that.
And then and then he needs a little bit more money in order to really. He's probably spending what, $2,500 a month.
Well, I wouldn't say that much. You know, his rent's like $1,200. He's got a truck payment and utilities, so he's right up there close to his, you know, Social Security income. So he's going into just a little bit of a deficit each month, and we don't want to take any money out of the trust account, you know, for living expenses. You know, we just want to either buy something cash. And the question is kind of like, do we buy a cheap $70,000 condo that, you know, we probably won't have an opportunity to resell? Do we leave the money in the market where it is and just keep paying rent? Or do we buy this townhome next to mine? And, you know, it's a lot more expensive, but it's got a lot more opportunity to really resell at a higher value.
Well, so mortgage rates obviously are so low right now that you know, you're not going to have a tremendous mortgage amount. And again, let me go back to the trust for just a second. So how much is in the trust?
$600,000.
So the trust itself is $600,000, and let's just assume, by the way, Well, let's just see what this mortgage would cost. So if we're 275, let's call it, you put down 25,000 or put down 10%. Let's just say the mortgage ends up being around let's say it's 250,000, right? And we have an interest rate of, let's call it 4, but that's even high. It's probably not even going to be that high. And 30 years for the mortgage, you are going to have a mortgage payment of, let's see here. So, and this is just a quick calculation on a mortgage calculator. You're looking at about 12. Ironically, this is interesting because the mortgage payment is almost identical to what he's already paying in rent.
Yeah, he's not working, so I don't think he could get a mortgage. We were just going to pay cash, write a check for $275,000 and just buy the place cash and not have a mortgage.
Hold on. So why though, have you already gone down this path of trying to get a mortgage
No.
Okay. So may not be as hard as you might think. A couple of reasons. One, he's got the trust. The trust produces income. And you can show the mortgage the mortgage company that you have this investment income from an account. Number one. Number two, he's got Social Security. So if you put those two together, he might very well have enough to get some sort of mortgage here.
Okay.
So $600,000 in a trust, and let's say it's producing around 4% a year, 3 to 4% a year. That's $24,000, right?
Okay.
Then you've got his Social Security of $1,750. That in itself is $21,000. So that's income of $45,000. Okay. Now that might be a little light to get a mortgage on for the entire amount. And again, there's probably a mortgage broker advisor out there that's pulling their hair out saying, Wes, that's plenty or that's not enough. I would tell you it may be a little shy of that. Let me just see what the payments would be. $1,200 a month times 12 is $14,000 divided by 45,000. Yeah, that's about 32%. So it's borderline. He might need a little more income than that, but you're getting close.
So you're suggesting taking a mortgage versus just writing a check for cash to leave the bulk of that money in the market? Is that what you're saying?
Well, a couple of thoughts. I love the thought of no mortgage, Stephen. I write about this in my book, You Can Retire Sooner Than You Think. I'm a big believer in not having a mortgage. And I guess the question would go back to what is the tax situation in order to do that? Is this a trust that he inherited or is he saved? Where does the money come from? What's the cost basis?
My grandmother passed and it's his half of the inheritance and it's in a trust.
And it's a fairly recent. This is recent?
Yes.
So he really has a very small amount. He will have virtually no taxes because he likely got a step up in basis. So he can use this money without having to worry about taxes for the most part, right?
That's what his understanding, I think.
Yeah. So, I would be, if let's say it's $600, he pays cash for this place, $275. He's left with $325. And then he has no mortgage. And then the $325 should generate 10, at least let's call it $15,000 a year, right?
Okay.
Which would be about 4 to 5%. But his expenses go virtually to zero. Now, how is he getting health care? That's the one question I have. He's only 62. Where's his health care coming from?
He's got a plan through the marketplace right now.
And that's going to be, so if he buys this house, cash, no mortgage, he ends up with his biggest expense is really healthcare. And if he's bringing in $1,750 from Social Security and he's got, let's call it around $300 left in the trust, right? $325, and he can pull about $1,000 a month. His income is going to end up being $2,700 a month, and his expenses will be probably under $1,000. I like that plan. Yeah, I like the thought that you guys pay, because if there's no tax consequences, and you've got to check with your CPA on this, I would lean towards thinking about having the no mortgage, and even though rates are really low, his income is low, it's going to be tough to it's going to be tough in the mortgage process, and you have the money. Yeah, I like this plan for you guys, and obviously it's a bigger conversation than 10 minutes on the radio, but I like where you're headed on this. Don't let your advisor stonewall you in a direction that may not make sense. Hi, I'm Wes Moss, and thanks for taking a minute to hear about what's so different about my new book, You Can Retire Sooner Than You Think. So unlike other retirement books, this book will give you a step-by-step guide, whether you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s, to learn from what these successful and happy retirees did to get there. I hope you enjoy the book, but more importantly, I know that it'll help you retire sooner than you think.